Okay, there we go. So we have Kristen on here tonight, and she's just going to pour into us. First, she's going to introduce herself, and then she's just going to, yes, I'm in my new bed. I haven't left the new bed since I've been laying in it. Carly FaceTimed me, and she was like, "Are you laying down?" I was like, "Yes, I am." But so we have Kristen on here tonight. She's going to pour into us. She's going to introduce herself first and just give her a little bit of her story, and then I have some questions we're going to ask her. So Kristen, we're super excited to have you on here and to hear from you because, like, I've always looked up to you and I always feel like you're a leader that doesn't get recognized enough. And I'm always like, okay, I need Kristen on my Zoom. So I'm excited.
That's so sweet of you. Thank you. I'm excited too. I love getting on Zooms and just like, I always feel so good afterwards. So I'm excited. So like she said, my name's Kristen. I've been in this business for 4 years, which is always so crazy to think about. I think that my story kind of started like before I joined. So before I joined, we were living in San Angelo, Texas in a camper. Like Tyson was in the oil fields out there working, and I was pregnant, and we had just gotten married, all this stuff. And I decided, like, I was still seeing my doctor in Norman. So it was like a 6-hour drive one way just to see my doctor. And like, once you get towards the end, it's like, you have to start going like once a week. So I moved back. We still had our house here in Oklahoma. And I moved back, and Tyson came back later. Well, he was going to have this job that was another oil field job. And he was supposed to start like a couple weeks after Ella was born. And once he got there, we had Ella, and then found out like that job wasn't available, like something happened, it just like fell through the cracks, like he didn't get the job anymore, so it like wasn't gonna happen. So it was stressful. Like, you're so excited because you just had a new baby, and Tyson was home with me, so he got to help me a lot, but it was also stressful, like not knowing where to go from there, because I'd already quit my job as an insurance agent, and I was just like, I don't know what we're going to do. But Tyson is a handy person. He was like going and doing all these different things and doing everything that he could. And we were just falling behind, and it was really stressful. And I was at the point where I was like, okay, am I going to have to go get a job and put Ella in daycare? Or are we going to tough it out? Like, I don't really know what to do, because once we like looked into daycares and stuff, it was honestly exactly what I made at my job working full time. Plus I had to drive an hour one way. So it just like was not making any sense for me to go back to work. And I knew nothing about network marketing. I'd like been a Herbalife distributor before just to like get the discount, but I never sold one thing. I never even tried. I didn't care. I just wanted the products. And, so I knew nothing. And I saw Courtney Lavey on Instagram, and I saw her post about making a $1,000 Ruby bonus. And that's all it said was like, who wants to earn a $1,000 Ruby bonus? And I was like, this girl right here. Like, I want that bonus. Like, that would be so helpful for my family. So I talked to Tyson, and I was like, I'm going to join this thing, and I'm going to sell stuff, and I'm going to make, $1,000. And I said, at the time, Courtney Bohr was like a double or triple maybe. And I was like, this girl is 19 and she's making $8,000 a month. And he's like, oh my God, like, you should go for it. Like, do it. So I joined. And I was never scared. I was just like really excited. I was like, I felt like as soon as I joined, I was like, this is like my chance. Like, this is my chance to stay home. This is what I'm going to do. And I was just like really, really excited from the very beginning. And I always tell people, like, I never second guessed joining. I was just like pumped. I was like, okay, Courtney, like, what do I do? And as I was talking to her, she was signing me as a distributor. I was copying and pasting what she was telling me. And then I was putting it in my notes, because I was ready to go sign some distributors, and she got me. So I was just going to go do the same thing. And from day one, that's what I've always done. It's just like done what my upline told me to do. And like, I just followed what her and Courtney Bohr were doing. That's the only people I knew, and it works. And I didn't even know what products we had. I knew absolutely nothing. So I literally got on my website, and I was like, oh my God, there's so many products. So I just like started writing down, like, okay, my grandma wants this. My sister would want this. My best friend would want this. My mom would want this. And I just started texting all of them. And I was just like, oh my gosh, like, I just joined, and you can get this for 40% off. And if I get 4 customers, I get this and that, blah, blah, blah. And I was just so excited. And I ended up going Ruby in my first 2 weeks and Emerald in my first 3 weeks. So at the time, there wasn't like an Emerald bonus or anything, but I got the Ruby bonus, and then I went Emerald. And the next month I was like, oh my gosh, they extended the bonuses. So I joined in April. So it was like after conference, and they were just like extending the bonuses after conference. And they extended the bonuses, and I was like, okay, like I got my diamond chart out, and I was like, I'm going diamond. And I told Tyson, I was like, I'm going diamond. I'm getting a $10,000 bonus. And he's like, okay, like you do that. And I was like, all right. So I went diamond in May. And then I think Ariel is unmuted. And then in May, so then in June, I was like, all right, get my double diamond chart out. And I got my double chart out, and I went double, and I earned a $25,000 bonus. And then in July, I got my triple chart out, and it was a lot scarier. From double to the triple was a big jump, but I was like, I'm doing it. I needed so many distributors and so much volume, but I did not even care. I was just like so excited, and I was like on a roll. I was like, I'm going triple. So in my first 4 months of this business, I went triple diamond. And it was, I feel like it was because I had my blinders on the entire time. I didn't know anybody else in this business other than Courtney, the Courtneys, and my team. I didn't know, I mean, I kind of knew of Jade, but like I never looked one way or the other. I just focused on what I needed on my chart and my volume, and I just did it. And I never looked at it as like, my team needs this much volume. My team needs this many distributors. I was like, I need 25 distributors. And the last week that I went triple, I needed 13,000 volume. Okay. And I never even batted an eye. I was so freaking excited. I was like, it's happening. Like all month I've been pushing, I've been saying it's going to happen, and it's going to happen. So when it happened, it was such a good feeling. And so then I was kind of like, all right, well, I'm triple. Like, that's awesome. So I joined for $1,000 Ruby bonus. Like, I'm good. And then I was like, no, like I have to get my presidential chart out. Like I'm going presidential. And I set it triple for, I don't know how, I'm not going to do the math, but I ended up going to conference in February of 2016. So this is like what, 9 months, 10 months after I joined. And at that time, triple wasn't VIP. So like you didn't get like the fast pass or like being on the floor, like none of that. So I literally had to wake up at 5 a.m. every morning to get in line. It was like all on a flat floor. Like it wasn't in a stadium or anything. Like you had to be at the front if you wanted to see what was going on. So I'd get up at 5 o'clock and I would run to, like you literally, I'm not even exaggerating. You would take off your shoes and you would run when they open the doors to get a seat. And then you would fight people until your team got there because you're saving them seats. Like it was chaos. Okay. It was crazy. And I was like, never again. Like I'm never waiting in that line again. I'm never doing this again. So I was like, I'm going presidential. And I ended up going pres the month after conference. So March. So my first 11 months. And at that time, presidential was $100,000 bonus. So I was just like stoked. I was so excited. And I never got out my ambassador chart because I was scared. I was like, I feel like I am asking for too much. Like I just went pres and like it was the hardest promotion that I've ever done. It was so hard. And it was obviously worth it, but it was so hard. So I was just like, I'm good. And I'm, not ambassador yet, but like this year when I was at conference, I just felt like it's happening. And I really believe that it is going to happen. And I have the right team right now. And I don't know, it's just like been such a crazy journey, but along the way, like I feel like I've become a better person. I've become a better mom, a better wife. My life has changed since I joined, but I've just like, this business can adapt to any lifestyle. And now I have 2 kids, like I'm busy and I can still work my business like I did when it was just Ella when she was 4 months old. So I don't know, I'm just really excited, and that's my story.
It's insane to me that you promoted so quickly. Like, I'm not kidding. Diamond was stressful. Double diamond was super stressful. And now I'm trying to go triple, and I just want to like run that way. And I'm like, yeah, I can't imagine. Like, that's insane. And like the whole conference thing, like I would have not even been able to go because I have social anxiety. So I would have been like, nope, not doing it.
No, it was crazy. It was so crazy. I was
That
like,
is
never again.
Yeah, it's crazy how much the business has even grown in, 4 years or whatever. That's just crazy. So, and you said 13,000 volume you had left in the.
There's like 6 days left. I remember the number written on my chart. It was like 13,558. Like, I'm not even kidding. It's exactly.
See, and a lot of people would have looked at that number and been like, next month, because I know that I'm guilty of that sometimes. And I'm like, oh, I'll just do it next month. Next month comes around and I don't. And I'm like, I can imagine pulling that off in 2 weeks. Like, that is nuts. So I just have some questions for you. What's your messaging method? And so, like, are you going to your followers? Are you going to likes, people that you see when you're scrolling, people who watch your story? And also, do you unsend and resend?
Okay. So, like, who am I following, basically? Oh, messaging method.
Yes.
Okay, I got you. Okay. I had to, like, read it because sometimes I don't listen very good. Okay, so how I message is I usually go to people who like my pictures first, because that's the fastest and easiest way for me. I go to the picture that has the most likes recently, and I go and I just scroll all the way to the bottom and I just start messaging. And something that I do too is, like, and it's been working so good. I just started this, like, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, and it's been so amazing. So if I'm, like, going through, because a lot of times, like, the same people like my pictures and stuff, and, like, we've already talked about the products, but they've been ghosting me, or we talked about the products and it was a dead end, and, like, all these different things. So I've been messaging them, and I'm just like, hey girl, I know we've talked about products before, and I just came across your page, and think you'd be freaking awesome at what I do. Are you open to hearing more info? And, like, 80% of them are like, yeah, like, I want to know more, like, tell me more. So that's something that I've been sending too, because it just makes it, like, I don't know, the conversation doesn't end. Like, I just start a different one, because maybe they weren't interested in being a customer because they don't have money, but they'd be more interested in making money from their phone. So that's something that I started doing, because I don't really message for distributors, but I figured that was a way to, like, open my market to sign more distributors. And it has been working so good. And so, but usually I just go through people who like my pictures and my followers. I'll just type in, like, A or B or BR, just letters, and I just go through and message. And a lot of, like, I message on Facebook too for host to post, like, all day. So I usually try to do, like, 10 on Instagram and then 15 on Facebook every hour. So usually, like, 100 and 100 is what it ends up being. But I have, like, I do everything on my iPad. So I have my, let me show you, like, my Facebook friends list on my iPad. And so I just go down the line and message them for host to post. So if I message them, I highlight it. If I unfriend them or they're with another company, I just mark them out and usually delete them as friend.
Also, do you unsend and resend? I don't think you can do that on Facebook, but I know you can on Instagram.
Yeah, on Instagram I do unsend and resend. I don't do it as much now that they get a notification, because
I know.
But if I'm desperate and I'm, like, out of people to message, like, I 100% will do whatever I have to do. So if I run out of people,
I call them the potato.
then I unsend and resend.
When I found out that they got notifications, I was like, oh my gosh, they're literally, but I don't think it says, like, who unsent
it. Doesn't say who, and it doesn't say what, but I'm like, well, I just unsent it and I'm resending the message. But I've never had anyone say anything, so I just kind of hold my breath and then push the button, and then there's nothing I can do from there. So
for the best.
That's what I do.
How do you, I guess this goes back at messaging, how do you message people constantly and not sound like a salesperson?
Like, talking to them all day, or just, like, the initial message?
I guess just both. Like, how do you message them? Like, when you message them, how do you not sound like you're being salesy and like you're just trying to make a relationship with them instead?
To be honest, I don't really care if I sound salesy. I send the same message every time I'm trying to get a customer. But I do like their pictures. I comment on their pictures. I watch their story before I message them. Like, I do one of those 3 things, and I feel like that's me building the relationship.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I came across your page. I liked your pictures. I commented. I watched your story, and I'm going to send you a message. And, like, it depends on the message you're sending, but I don't feel like my message sounds like super salesy. It's just like, hey, I came across your page. Like,
Yeah, don't play
you're
it.
gorgeous. Would you be interested in hearing more, about products or blah, blah, blah. I'm looking for product testers, that kind of thing. So I've just never, I've never gotten a bad response with it. Like, nobody's really ever rude or anything. So I just do that. And then, like, as far as like keeping the conversation with distributors, I try to voice message as much as possible, because I feel like if you're using scripts to sign distributors, it's a lot harder to sign them. Like, you can sit there and type everything out if you want, but be real with every single distributor that you talk to and try to relate to their reason for joining and what they're looking for in the business, because they're not joining for what you need. They're not joining to be a $400 on your chart. They're joining to make money for whatever reason they have, or to get products or whatever it is. But you just need to like understand each distributor and know. And so I was doing scripts and I was like, I'm not signing anybody. Like, this is so annoying. Like, I'm talking to all these people and nobody's joining. And then I realized like I am being so robotic, like it's ridiculous. So I do have some scripts like explaining the business, but I just kind of like in every script, I still throw in something personal in there, and different with every single distributor because they're all different. I always ask them why they want to join, like what do they do now? Do they have a job? Things like that. So I just try to get to know them throughout the conversation so that I can relate. And then in follow-ups, like I can always use that. And I'm like, hey girl, I know you said you wanted to join to make an extra $500 a month to stay home with your kids. Like, are you still interested? Because I have a spot open. Like, you can always use that to your advantage. And voice messages are huge for signing distributors. I feel like on Facebook, you can copy and paste voice messages, but on Instagram, you can't. But still, it doesn't take that long.
Yeah, I feel like once I started using voice messages more, and even saying if somebody's like, I'm interested in what you do, I'm like, okay, girl, give me a call and let's go over it on the phone. Because once they know that you're like a real person and you're not just some robot, like you said, sending the same thing, and everybody's different. Like, we all have different personalities. So if Carly, for example, because she was my enroller, comes at me all red like, and I'm yellow, I'm like, hold on, I'm not like,
Yeah.
So I feel like the voice messages are huge, and being on the phone with distributors and potential customers, even when they know that you're, wanting to help them, then they're like, okay, she's not just trying to make a sale. So I love that you said that. What are your secrets to getting DT? So I know you said that you don't really message too much for them, but like, I know they probably come to you because you are a presidential diamond, but like, what are your secrets to getting them?
And honestly, like, I have never messaged for distributors, and like, I have it in my phone. Like, I used to type out all the distributors I signed. And like, when I first joined, I was signing like 30 to 40 distributors a month. And I was not messaging for distributors. I was, posting and algorithms and all that are way different. You have to keep that in mind. Like, you could post and be like, hold up 2 fingers and be like, I have 2 spots left on my Ruby chart. And then you get 15 messages. It's not like that anymore. But I still don't, other than like messaging my customers, like I was saying, I do message distributors in that way. But other than that, like, I just try to be real and relatable in my stories. And I know this is going to be kind of annoying because I'm sure everybody says this, or a lot of leaders say this, but manifesting, speaking into existence, praying, journaling, self-development, like, I'm not even kidding you. So this month I started journaling with my team every single morning at 7 a.m. We have a little template that we go through. And every single day I have said, like, please help me to be a strong distributor enroller. I want to sign 15 distributors this month, and I want them to be self-sufficient. I want them to enroll their own customers, enroll their own distributors, go Ruby quickly and Diamond even quicker, like all these things I've been saying. Every single day that I have done this, I have had at least one person in my inbox saying, hey, like, I've been watching you and I just really want to join. And I'm like, okay, like, it's crazy and it sounds crazy, but it's so, so true. And like, just believing that you can sign distributors, because there for a while, I could definitely tell I was in the habit of being like, I can't sign a distributor to save my life. And I couldn't, because I was so negative about it. And I was just like not believing in myself. And finally, when I was like, I'm done with this, like, I am signing distributors, I started signing them. And I just put this in my journal every single day. And like the other day I was telling my team, I was like, I literally all day was like, messaging and doing all these things, trying to get distributors, like messaging the customers, like I was telling you, making live posts, all these things, and no one came to me. And then I laid my head down at like 10:30 and my phone buzzes and I'm like, who's that? And I look and this girl's like, hey, I've been watching you and I'm just like really interested in joining. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I thought today like just wasn't my day, but I still had somebody like before I went to sleep. And I just think like how you start your day and like what you put into your brain and what you believe is like the biggest part of this business, because it is literally everything. And like I used to get annoyed when people told me that. I was like, okay, so basically you just say like I'm going to sign distributors and then here they come. Like that's great advice. Like that doesn't help me at all. But once I started to understand what it actually meant to like manifest, if you watch Amanda Francis, she's amazing. And she mixes manifesting in with prayer. So it's not like confusing. It's just like, you know, because I used to always kind of like get confused between the two and like feel like I was kind of like doing wrong in my faith if I was manifesting. But when I watched her, I learned that you can do them together. And it's basically just like God wants you to live in abundance. I'm not going to go into all this, but basically just like putting it all out there and like showing what you can actually do. And it's just been like it's been a game changer for our team this month. And that's like such a big part of how I sign distributors now, is just like honestly writing it down, speaking it to existence. I do it all day long talking about it. I'm just like pumped. I'm excited. I'm excited now to talk to every single person. I'm like, oh yeah, like this one's going to sign up and they're going to be amazing. And like my distributors that I've signed this month have been signing their own customers, signing distributors. Like they have taken off. And I really believe it's because of that.
See, I love that you were talking about manifesting, because like Caroline's on here, she'll tell you, like, I thought she was literally crazy. I'm like, girl, I am not manifesting. Like, I'm kind of like what you said, it felt like you were going against your faith. Like, that's kind of how I felt at first too, because I'm like, it's like I'm just asking for all this stuff and it's not right. But then I was like, I started to read on it. I went on Pinterest and I read literally like 50 articles on it, because I was like, okay, if everybody's talking about this, like everyone's going live and, all these different pages, and I'm like, okay, I have to try it.
God literally says you shall receive.
Yeah.
Like God literally says, ask and you shall receive. So that's
Yes.
amazing. I always put those two together, always.
Yes.
Yeah.
I just had to interrupt because I'm so like passionate about manifesting, and I did lose the faith a long time ago. And this business has helped me get that back.
Yeah.
I think just like
I got chill bumps. I have chill bumps because you guys are like bringing this up and I'm like I have to interrupt because this like relates so much to me. Like it resonates so like perfect and well. Like it's crazy. I have chill bumps.
Yeah, and I think that my thing was like talking to the universe and like speaking it into the universe. Like I was always just like, oh, like I'm so conflicted. I want to talk to God, but I want to manifest into the universe. And then once I watched Amanda Francis, like it all made sense. Mm-hmm. And I feel good about it. Like every day I start with being thankful for what I have and then asking for what I want. So I just do this in order, do my devotional, do my journaling, and then like I'm good to go. Sorry to like go off on a tangent about.
Yeah, no, I'm so sorry I interrupted.
No, you're fine.
I'm like, you asked how to sign DTs, and here I am preaching about.
No, it's fine. I was just, used to, like I said, I thought manifesting was crazy, but once I started doing it, I had people coming into my inbox, not even just potential distributors, but potential customers as well. So I love that you talked about that. Because
I just thought that God hated me at one point in time.
Huh?
Like, I thought that God had like hated me because I was so down and out and like my thoughts were just so negative. And I was like, God hates me. And then I hear about all this and I'm like, oh, well, duh, I think that. So maybe that's true.
Yes.
So then that's when I restored my faith. I just had to. In God, in himself, like, because he's the ultimate creator. So
that's awesome.
This kind of goes with your secrets to getting distributors. When you're training a new distributor, what are your steps? How do you break the info down to where they aren't overloaded and get overwhelmed? Because I think that's whenever, like, I stopped doing this, but whenever I started, like, whenever I would sign on distributor, I'm like, okay, I'm adding you to this page, this page, this page, and I'm going to give you all these notes and everything. And then it's like they fall off because you get them so overwhelmed. So, like, what do you do to not overwhelm them?
Okay, so what I do is I start them off step by step. So basically, I'm like, hey, like, I'm so excited. Just want you to know, like, we're gonna do this. Hold on, let me read it because I don't even really know what I say. I'm like, okay. So basically, I'm like, so you'll be receiving an email to get logged into your back office. Log in and fill out the tax info. I'll be adding you to my team page on Facebook. Send me a screenshot of your Facebook page, please, so I can add you. Once you fill out the tax form, I will get you going from there. And then I always say, like, so I want you to understand I'm here for you 100% of the way. Basically, how I coach is I match your efforts. So if you want to run, I'll run with you. If you want to go at your own pace, I'll go at your pace. Our first goal is to get you your 4 loyal customers. This is going to start building your commission, plus earn you a $100 shopping spree. I'm going to help you do this by walking you through it. Sound good? And so I always help them with their first post. And then I always just kind of show them like what I did when I joined, which was reaching out to my friends and family first. And I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. I think that it's who you should be asking because that's who you know. And so I just have them write down a list of 30 people if they can. And I send them, like, I don't send them a scripted message. I'm like, hey, just tell them, like, you have products, and if they would be willing to help you out, that would be amazing. Like, just really short and simple. It's not like this long thing or anything like that. And so once I know, like, if they're sending me screenshots back and they're working and I can see that they're working, then I know who, like, I don't really pour into people as much that aren't really communicating back to me. I usually give them 5 times of me messaging them with no response. And then I say something like, hey girl, like, I'm sorry if you're upset about something or if you've just been really busy, but I am willing to pour into you to help you promote to Ruby and get those 4 loyal customers and earn your shopping spree if you're ready. So just let me know and I'll be happy to work with you. So if I've messaged them 5 times and they don't respond, then I send something like that just to let them know, like, I'm here, but I'm not going to keep messaging them if they're not even going to take 2 seconds to message me back. So I feel like just going step by step. I don't really send them training videos or anything. They have them in Connect, so I tell them that those videos are available if they want to watch them. And Jade also has a really good, like, getting started video, so I do send them that video, and she has one, how to seal the deal with loyal customers. I always send that because that video literally changed my business. Like, I know I promoted really fast, but I didn't sign a customer until I watched that video. And then, like, everyone I talked to started signing up because I was changing what I was saying. So I use that. And then I just basically go from there. Like I said, like, I go with their pace. So if they're ready to run, like, okay, like, every day, if they're working and I know they're trying, like, I'll say, hey girl, here's an idea for a live post. You can hold down your finger and screenshot my story all day long, and post everything that I post until you get the hang of it. I give them a couple leaders to follow, and then I tell them how to follow new people, and yeah, that's basically it. So I just kind of, like, go at their pace, but I just, like, walk them through everything that I do every single day and make sure that they understand how to do those things, because a lot of times they don't know what they're doing, obviously. So, and a lot of people have never been in this business before when they come in. So I'm just, like, telling them how to work social media.
Yeah. When do you do you add them to pages right off the bat, or do you wait like a week?
So I usually add them to the page right away. And then me and Courtney do, like, a chat together, and we don't add anyone into that chat until they have 2 loyal customers. So I add them to the page, and then I wait and add them to the chat, because we were adding everyone to the chat, and it was like, who's even working? We don't know. All these random people are in here. So we just decided 2 customers, and then they can add, and we have it to where we can, like, approve people. So they have to, like, message us and tell us, like, hey, we signed these 2 customers, or this person did, and then we add them to the chat. So
yeah, I feel like, because I always have to do, like, chat cleanouts, because so many people are in my chat, and then it's like no one even here, like, there's so many people in here that aren't even reading the messages or aren't even working. So that's actually a really good idea.
Yeah, that way you know that they're working.
Okay, this is, like, a huge question that everyone has different, outlooks on and stuff. So I know you're married. how do you balance your relationship at work and work? A lot of people say their guys complain about them needing to focus on work and stuff.
Okay, so I mean, my husband has definitely complained about me being on my phone and things like that. But from the beginning, I feel like, especially on promoting months, I don't do this every month, but like on promoting months, when you're working really, really, really hard, like we would sit down and I would be like, okay, like I'm promoting this month. I'm going to be on my phone a lot. I'm not going to have a lot of free time. What do you need from me? And he would be like, as long as you like cook me dinner and my clothes are clean, like we're good. So that means it's okay if the house is a mess. It's okay if I'm on my phone more than I usually am. Like we just had that understanding of what we needed from each other so that it wasn't ever a question after that. It's like we talked about it. That's what we decided. And now it's all good. Like I didn't feel guilty after that conversation. I felt better. I felt like I knew what I needed to be doing. Because before I was like, the laundry, the house, the cooking, I need to be working like so hard to promote and like all these things. I have kids. At that time, I probably just had Ella, but like still it's a lot. And so, and then like once I had added Andy into the mix, it was like, oh, I feel like I had to start all over because like going from 1 to 2 is just like freaking crazy. But I've just been always intentional and organized with my time as much as I can. And then we have like every night, usually he comes home and I cook dinner, we eat, and then we have like an hour of like time with each other. Usually don't have our phones out. Like we either watch Netflix or just hang out or whatever. And then after that, like I can do a Zoom or I can go do a power hour or whatever. But like we have that time together and that helps a lot because I don't see him during the day or in the morning or anything. So just working out like a schedule that works best for you is definitely necessary because you don't want to put your business or your relationship on the back burner. You want to be able to, that's what I actually had to talk with one of my distributors because she promoted to double and then the next month she did nothing. And she was like, well, I didn't give my husband any attention last month, so I'm just focusing on my family this month. And I'm like, you have to balance both. You have to be able to do both. And as long as you're giving 100% to everything that you're doing and not 25 to every little thing at once, like you are going to feel good at the end of the day. So I always try, like, I give myself 2 hours in the morning to do my own personal development, journaling, whatever I need to do. Usually, like, depending on what time they wake up, they usually have about 2 hours. And then I make them breakfast. We hang out. We color, whatever we're doing. And then I usually work while Andy naps. Ella can like entertain herself for a little while. And then I have some free time to like clean up or do laundry or whatever. And then I, cook, hang out with Tyson. And then usually I work all night until I'm ready to go to bed. So I just give 100% to every single thing as much as I can. Obviously, it's easy to slip up because it's hard to do that all the time. But I do try really hard to like give everyone equal attention. Can you turn that off? The Bachelorette's on behind me. Oh my God, I want to know what's going on. Good night, love you. I was like, I don't want to see what's happening. Sorry. I
didn't know what it was. I was like, what is it? Something bad? Or
when I saw it in my reflection, I'm like, no, tonight's supposed to be crazy. I do not want to see what's going on over there. Okay.
Yeah, that was a huge thing for me too. Like when I first started, like Brandon, he didn't agree with anything I did. Like he was so mad at me. We almost split up because he thought I was crazy. And he's like, you're spending money that you didn't have to join. And, you're doing all these things. And this is a crazy business. Like you can't make that much. Like Carly had just earned the $10,000 bonus from her, from going diamond, I think it was.
Yeah.
And it's like, that is not possible. That doesn't happen. You can't do that. And then now I think it was actually when I finally promoted to diamond because he like griped up until then. And now he's like, especially now being double, he's like, okay, he doesn't really do anything. But, like you said, you have to make sure also that you're giving them attention too. So,
yeah, they need lots of attention.
Yes, especially when they're like sick because they're big babies. So in the chat, it says, is that template shareable? I guess it was the journaling template.
Yeah, I just made it. So there's actually a podcast with Pam Souter and Carrie Youngs, and that's what I kind of made the template off of, because they were talking a lot about journaling and stuff. And so I just made a template I can share. I can send it to you, Courtney, and then you can share it with your team if you want. It's just a Word document, and then I just put it in GoodNotes on my iPad and just fill out a new one every day. But I also send you like the example to explain each part, because it's like you may not know what the heck I'm talking about on there.
Yeah.
But I have it written down, because like at the beginning when I was Zooming, I was like, okay, this one we do this and this one we do that. But now everybody just kind of knows what we're doing, so we just get on there and do it every morning.
That's a neat idea. I wake up, early, but if I started journaling or something like that, I think it would make me feel better for the whole day, because it's like you were saying, I mean, in the morning, that makes your whole day, what you do in the morning.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So, and leading the journaling for me keeps me accountable. Like I have to be there for them to know what we're journaling. Like they can do it without me, but I started this. I put out there, I'm going to be on there every Monday through Friday at 7 a.m. So I have to be there. So I have to wake up. And what was it? Thursday or Friday last week, I don't know. I somehow my alarm was like still going off when I woke up, but it was silent, and it was like 9 o'clock literally when I woke up. And I was like, oh my God, like I missed it. I was telling Tyson, like, I missed my alarm. He's like, oh, because you have so many places that you have to be at right now. And I'm like, you don't understand. Like I have to get up 2 hours before the girl, like I have my schedule. And that whole day sucked. Like I was off. I wasn't in a bad mood, but I was just like, oh my God, like why am I even here right now? Like this is so, like I was just in a blah mood. And I feel like journaling every morning, like starts my day. And it's like, if you do work in the morning before your kids, if you have kids or before you go to work or whatever, by 8 o'clock, like you're like, man, I've done everything today. Like I am freaking superhero. I'm awesome. I've gotten so much done, and it's 8 a.m. in the morning. Like, who am I? And then the rest of the day, like I don't stress about having to do all these different things. Like, yeah, I message every hour, but that literally takes me less than a minute. That's like literally I message and then I'm like, okay, back to whatever I was doing. And so it's just such a good feeling. Like, I remember the first one I ever got on like a morning thing like that. I was just like, wow, like what have I been doing for the last 4 years? Like it just makes such a big difference. And it's hard. Like I have a girl on my team that gets up at 4:45 a.m. every morning because she lives in California and she does the journaling with us. Like you just have to sacrifice sleep if you really have big goals. Like you are not going to get them while you're freaking sleeping or playing Candy Crush. Okay, I'm like addicted. I have to delete that game off my phone, or else I will play Candy Crush all day instead of do productive things. So
I find myself just scrolling through and watching stupid videos.
oh my God, I know. You just have to make choices. Like your choices get you where you're going in life, no matter what your choices are, like good or bad. Like that's going to get you to the next step. So
my last question is, this isn't one that my team asked. This is just one that I wanted to ask, because I think, even though we have a while till conference, there's still a lot of people who have to like save up and want to save up for it. But I want you to talk about like your aha moment at conference and how important it is to get to conference. Like I didn't realize how important it was until I actually went.
yeah. So like I was saying earlier, when I joined in April, like they'd already went to conference. I didn't even know what conference was. I didn't even know it was a thing. And the next year I was like, I'm going to conference. Like my thing was, which I was already a triple, so it's a lot different, but I was just excited and I wanted my team to be there. And I was just like, please, like you guys have to come. Like I promise you, everyone says it's life-changing. I don't know what happens there, but it's magic and you just need to go. And so they went. I don't know how many people on my team went, maybe 5. I was a triple and I had 5 people go. But they went, and freaking this girl on my team was executive, and the whole weekend she's crying and bawling. And actually I loved sitting with my team. Like I kind of just now in that moment I was like, I loved sitting with my team, even though I was like fighting for a seat. But and we left conference and like everyone's excited. You have this crazy adrenaline rush. You're just like, I don't even know what to do with my hands. Like what is going on? I'm so excited. And she went diamond and it was in February. So from executive to diamond in like less than 28 days. So I feel like what makes conference so amazing is being surrounded by people who you can relate to. So you may have joined with Courtney, but maybe you don't relate to her lifestyle. Like maybe you don't have kids, or maybe you're not married, but you still won't have the same goals. But when you go to conference, you really just are surrounded. It's like the most amazing feeling being in that room. You're surrounded by so many amazing people. You see people go across stage who are like talking about living on food stamps, and you're actually seeing them in person. And like Cassie Westland, or whatever her last name is. I think it's Westland. Yeah. I was thinking of her old last name, but then I couldn't even think of what it was. Anyways, but like she wasn't even in the top 150, and then she was number 11. And then she was number 2. Like it's just freaking crazy, like what can happen. And I don't know, I think like being with your team, having that time, being in the room with so many freaking amazing people, and just like all of these different things are just like so inspiring. And I've probably had a million aha moments at conference, but I just think like seeing my team be there, and then what happens when we leave, like every single person that went on my team that went to conference this year is either diamond or double diamond after conference. Like they promoted, and it was because they were there. And like they're like some of my best friends because I got to hang out with them all weekend. And like, I don't know, it's just such an amazing feeling. And I think that it doesn't really cost that much to go to conference. You don't eat out a lot. You don't sleep. Like, I mean, really. So you really don't eat out that much. Like you might eat breakfast. I don't know. I feel like you don't eat or sleep the whole time you're there. It's like you're on drugs, I swear. I'm like, what is happening? I like can't do anything. But and then at night, like you're doing whatever's going on. Like, I don't know, you may eat dinner once a day or something if you're lucky, but you can split a room with so many people. Your conference ticket can be paid out. It doesn't have to be all at once. And there's just so many ways. And like, I feel like if you don't go, it's just an excuse. Like you're just holding yourself back because there's so many things, like reasons why you can go. So, I mean, me and Courtney drove one year because we didn't want to buy a plane ticket. Don't do that if you live in Oklahoma. Like it freaking sucked so bad. But we got there one way or another. And yeah, it was awful. I've always been like, I'll never drive. Well, it took us 24. Okay. It was awful. And we didn't stop. We went straight through. And anyways, but you will get there one way or another. And I don't know. You book your flight early enough, like from Oklahoma, I don't know, it's usually like $200 round trip. Like that is 2 fast start bonuses. Okay. That's it. And so
we were thinking about driving, Carly and Brianna and I, and we were like, no, we're going to fly.
I'll never drive anywhere again unless it's
I was terrified, but I did it anyways. But I was thinking, I'm like, if I was going crazy sitting on that plane for like an hour or 2 or whatever, I can imagine being in a car.
Yeah, it sucks so bad.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't really that expensive because like you said, it's almost like you're on drugs when you're there. You literally don't eat. And if you do, you eat like a chicken strip because you're just so pumped
You're
up.
like at the concession stand, like, give me some nachos. I got to get back to this thing real quick. You know, like, you don't spend a lot of money. Your ticket and your flight and your room, like, that's pretty much all you spend. And maybe like a couple hundred, if that, while you're there. Because you're only there for 3 days.
Yeah.
And if you rent an Airbnb, you can have your own breakfast. You can go to the store and buy your own breakfast, muffins, whatever you want. Like
we got an Airbnb and we all split it. So we like didn't even spend that much money on a house, and we didn't even like get groceries or anything because we were like never there. So
yeah,
I want everyone to go. Like I want everyone to, because I didn't understand how important it was and how much it could really change your business until we were there.
And it's so hard to tell people that because you just don't get it. Like, you just don't get it. You just have to make the decision to go, come hell or high water. Like, I'm going to conference. Ever since I've been, I have never missed another conference. Like, I will never miss conference. Ever. Because it's just so freaking, and every year, like, I feel like I'm a new person leaving that room. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I'm going big, you know? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God. We brought Tyson and Ryan one time. Big mistake.
Yeah, I can imagine bringing my family. Like,
Yes. She didn't pay her electric bill so she could go. See?
yeah. So,
Fast starts. Like I always just tell people fast starts. Sign some distributors, get your fast start bonuses, go to conference.
well,
Like
and if you start saving now, I mean, there's no excuses.
no. And I mean depending on where you're flying from and your ticket and all of that, like I would just plan on saving like, I don't know, $500 would probably be enough. It just depends on like how much your stuff costs. But it's just like, yeah, start saving now, put freaking $20 back a week or whatever, and you'll be at conference and you will be diamond or triple or whatever you want to be next year. Like if you're not that already when you get there, but it's like, you just leave like, bam, like I can conquer the world. Like it's just, and listening to Mark talk and like he gives the best freaking speeches. You're just like, oh my
I
God.
know he
I
makes
cry
everybody
every
cry.
time. Yeah. It's
Like
like,
Caroline, she doesn't cry, and she literally was bawling. Like I took a video of her. She was like ugly crying.
yes, it's so awesome.
I'm so excited. Thank you so much for hopping on and speaking.
You're welcome.